Good morning, YouTubers. Today is a work day back here a little bit at the mill. Sawing is probably the easiest part of doing a log. If you think about it, you got to get your logs back to the log deck, and you got to get them up on the carriage, saw them. Then you got to get them through here, and then you got to offload them. Then you got the mess to clean up. Nobody ever thinks about the mess. You know, there's so much mess. You got to get after you do a product. Doesn't matter what your product is, whether it's firewood or whether it's making something. After you got it made, you have to get rid of it. You have to get it away from your manufacturing area. So you got to get rid of the sawdust down there. Then you got to get rid of slabs, or these are the trims off some of those pieces that I cut on that last video. Then I got to get back here and get all the slab wood that's already cut up and get into my basket for next year's firewood. Then I got to get all the trims over here on the chop saw, get them chopped up and in the basket. But one of the problems we got right now is mud. More mud, just mud everywhere. And so I try to limit my equipment usage as much. That's what I use to clean up here. I just come in with a bobcat and a big bucket and scoop all this stuff up and put it up in the woods. You know, it doesn't hurt it to put it back to nature, let it decompose into that. Some of this fine stuff like this, the sawdust, I generally take and put up on the roads. It keeps the dust down in the summertime if we ever get dust. But today, the thing is, I have to get that pulley off. That pulley's been on there for more years than I kind of think I remember. And I've done most of I don't know if it was hard work, it was actually not too bad. I have here a bracket that pushes it that way, away from the saw mandrel. And it's all thread. Everybody knows I'm cheap, so it's stuff that come off telephone poles. And this beam here is bolted into the husks, so it's got a lot of push power. Then on the front, if you see it, to get up to where the motor is, I put a top link. I made that bracket there and a top link that goes up to the part where there's another cross member and another piece of all thread, or that's a bolt, I think, for pulling right here. That's a bolt for pulling, because that part of the sawmill wants to go this way. Wants to go to the mandrel. When you start pulling on this one, for every, I guess, action there's a reaction. So this end of the mill, I want to push it that way, and that end of the mill then wants to go out the same way, because the pulley's pulling around, moving it in an angle like that. So that bolt back there pushes it, or pulls it the way I got it set up. Now I got another one here for pulling, and then down in here I got brackets for aligning it up. And then here's another one. I put the board in there now. It goes metal on metal, but I did some of the work before I got back here. So that's gonna push. I got to push the motor over, I'm guessing 2 inches to get these pulleys off. I'm trying to increase the speed of the mill up to 650 RPM so I can get a bigger tip speed. Looks like my battery's going down. This battery goes down every other day. It's flashing at me. So that's my goal. I'm gonna probably, I don't know, there isn't gonna be too much more minute if this battery thing's flashing at me. There's the old tired 471. We're up to 4 minutes. Maybe this will be a short one, and I'll do another one real quick of having the pulley off or putting the other pulley back on, because it's been rusted on for quite a few years, and there's adapters and all sorts of stuff. It's just stuff I got. The engine I bought down in Virginia and had to get it working, and it wasn't too bad to get it working. As you can see, it slobbers oil, but the only time a Detroit diesel isn't leaking oil all over itself is when it's empty. You know, that they just slobber all the time. And I don't really care. It seems to work fine. The gas tank, I got it at auction for $5 and made it work. So let me get to moving the motor over. I don't know how long this battery is going to last before it dumps you, but when it does, then it does. Hopefully I can just take and crank this up and move that motor over. Now I gotta get another wrench on it here. It's moving. See if you're still going. Yep, you're still flashing. All right, now we got to get this one to push a little bit. I don't have a thing to hold on to the end. I might have to go. Yeah, I was afraid of that. It might turn. There it goes. Yeah. I don't need a whole lot. It's that's out of my hand ring. Now let me get a channel lock. I should have put some oil on that one. I didn't put any oil. You can see it down here. It's starting to move over pretty good. When I get an inch on it, that should be maybe enough to get the 2 bolts off, or the belt off. Whew. How are we doing there on the flashing battery? I guess you really couldn't see what I was doing there. But as you can see, it's already moved, oh, a good ½ inch. It ain't gonna take too long to do this. We're up to 3/4 minute. Yeah, those belts are starting to get a lot of nice slop in them now. I'm gonna try to get the belts off now. As you can see, I got a lot of slop in them now. If I get them, start spinning them. That wasn't too bad. It might be easier to take that one and go that way. I guess this one here, I'll go this. That wasn't too hateful, except for that one's in the way now. Lordy. Well, that's not too hateful. How are we doing on the flashing battery? It's still flashing. Well, we'll keep going until we run out of something. I got to get the diameter of the PTO also. I don't know what I did with my stupid wrench. I got some Allen sets in there. I sprayed it down with, I like this stuff here. It seems to work pretty good. Things break loose pretty good with that. Things would break even better loose if I brought my ratchet in. I gotta walk through the mud over here. Look for where I put it in the thing. I've got some sandpaper, some sand cloth. Well, I don't know what I did with the ratchet. That's what happens when you get old and senile. Oh man. I threw a ratchet in here. I got some sand cloth. I threw the ratchet in here, and I don't know what I did with it. That's what happens when you get old and senile. Oh, here it is. Let's see. We're still flashing at me, so we still got a little bit of battery. Look at that. After all these years, those things come out just that simple. I don't know if it was because of the Gibbs, or maybe I just finally got a little bit lucky. Look at the length of those. One you use, I guess everybody knows, to push it off or push it some way. That'll go in here. Hopefully it'll go off pretty good. Or not. There. Look at that. That wasn't too hateful. But I still got to get this off, which that does not look nice, and the taper isn't on my side on this. So that's going to be where the big problem might be. If I take a screwdriver and just tap that lightly, I might be able to get that off. I need to get a shop towel. I got one in the back, and get a screwdriver and tap that in just a hair, and maybe it'll spread enough to come off. And hammer. This thing looks like it's got a bushing. I know it's some kind of, I got it to move. And it's got a T adapter right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom in. Well, if I do that, it's probably going to use up all the rest of the power. This piece here has got a lip on it, so I can't pull that bushing out over it. But the bushing came loose by spreading that where it's a split bushing. And so I spread that a little bit, and that came off. But this part here is keyed, and I got a feeling that thing ain't gonna want to come off at all. So before I do too much, I'll start cleaning this up. Yeah, it's pretty clean, but it ain't gonna come off. I'm gonna have to put a puller on it of some sort. I do believe if I push that bushing in, let me get, it's a ways up to the house to get stuff to. Actually, that's loose. But to tap it was one thing, to have it come off is another thing. But I don't think I'm going to be hating life as bad as I thought. Let me get my sand cloth and see what I can do on that. We're still making it video wise. take this out of there. I really can't get in there though, but this outside is going to happen. This thing, whoever had it before me, has it all boogered up. You can see somebody cut the end of it with a torch. They've had a pipe wrench on it here. You can see pipe marks. A little bit of sawdust here. I don't know where that came from. Maid must have not have come last week, I guess. The way this place looks, she hadn't been here for a couple days. Hire me a new maid. Daggone, that ain't cleaned up too bad for many years this thing been on here. Well, I wonder if that ain't happening. I think I'm still gonna have to probably get a puller and pull that. But it looks, it doesn't look hateful. It really doesn't look hateful. I'll put that, tap that back in there a little bit. If you're doing that on a split collar, I suggest being real gentle with it. We'll hose this thing down here. Maybe I can get a couple screwdrivers and maybe that thing will pry out. That would be really nice not to have to go back and get a puller. Here's a big screwdriver. Uh-oh, my second big screwdriver compartment didn't come to work. We're still going at it here. Man, this would be, the chances of this coming off of here. I don't think I better drive it on any further. I think that would be a mistake. Actually, that's moving. I don't know, you can't see it on the movie, I don't think. I'm gonna tap it back in and clean some more crud off. Maybe I can get some hose in the backside, I don't know. Just hose it off of this. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Look at that. I'm real happy with that. It's getting to the rusty area part now. That might clamp back down on it. Oh my goodness.